What is up, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to the Matt Ramage Show. All right, we have a great guest today, but before we get to him, a big shout out to sponsor of the show, Quick Trip. If you don't have the Quick Rewards app, be sure to get it. You know what I mean? They're giving away all types of stuff, including like the stuff in the store, but also vehicles and whatnot. They have all types of cool stuff. And Nicolay Law, who's also a sponsor, they're working with them as well. So big shout out to Quick Trip, Nicolay Law. I'm rocking the hat over here, but we have a great guest today. Mr. Kevin, is it Kellum?
Kellum, you said it correctly. Yeah, you said it the right way.
I'm horrible at names, and I hate it. But how are you doing, man? Good to meet you.
I'm doing pretty good. I wish my Bears were doing good. I'm from this far off land known as Illinois. I know it's just on the map when you guys see it in school, it just reads FIB. But it is actually called Illinois, our proper name. And our license plates and stuff like that. And I am a fan of this unfortunate football team called the Bears.
Yeah, dude. It's funny because I was telling a friend of mine, Ben, the Green Bay guy on social media. He's the guy who I talk to about like guests and like stuff I'm doing. Yeah. And I told him, I was like, I'm having a comedian. You're a stand-up comedian, right?
Yeah, I do stand-up. I do stand-up comedy out of Chicago, and I have the big Odd Purple comedy tour that we're doing through Under the Lights, which does a lot of great comedy shows. We're going to be in West Dallas, basically Milwaukee, but then we're going to be up by Green Bay, like Sturgeon Bay on the 8th, Sunday 8th. The Saturday night, we're going to be in Abrams on the 7th, and then on Friday, we're going to be in Marinette. I think I'm saying Marinette. I want to say Marionette, but I said Marinette. I had to ask somebody about that. But if you go to my Instagram, at KevKellum6, I have the link, and you can get all the tickets and different stuff like that, too.
There you go. I'm like right in the middle of Green Bay, Marinette. I don't tell people where I live because I feel like stalkers. Not really stalkers, but like disgruntled Bear fans. You know,
or people you owe money to because you were betting this spread. You know, like they're gonna come to your house and ask for a hot dog from Quick Trip or something. You know. Yeah,
dude. But I do want to ask you about being a Bear fan, because that's what I was saying. I was telling my friend Ben, I'm like, I really don't know this guy. I know him from Instagram or whatever. Seems like a good guy. I watched your clips or whatever.
Thanks, man.
And then he was like, he's from Chicago because it's on your Instagram, which I didn't see.
Oh,
he's like, he's from Illinois. He's like, maybe he's a Bears fan.
I was like, he's from Chicago.
Yeah, dude. The fib sirens came out. Like, rear.
Everybody shut down the meat raffle. Shut down the meat raffle.
Yeah.
Everybody put the chains on your snowmobiles. We got a fib in town.
Dude, that's how it goes. Like email alerts go out, like people's phones start blinging.
There's gonna be a citizen app alert. There's gonna be a citizen. Listen, I went down to the Piggly Wiggly. All right, you guys don't have Piggly Wiggly. I don't know if you have Piggly Wiggly.
Yeah, we do.
So I'm just thinking like where it was when I've worked in Kenosha.
Not many,
for like 4 months.
They're out there.
Yeah, the Kroger. You guys got a Kroger and stuff like that too. So
probably. I don't know.
Yeah,
not
but you know what I mean. Like, hey, I'm down. I saw one. He had a hat on, and he's probably in a gang. He has to be in a gang.
Dude, we see those Illinois plates. We start texting people. It's like you ever like be on the highway, like if you have the navigation on, and like people can actually like send alerts, like there's a cop up here or an accident. Yeah. I think that they have one in Wisconsin. There's a fib. 90 feet ahead of you. No, but I think I absolutely love the Bears-Packer rivalry. It's like my favorite thing. Even Packer fans get mad at me.
It's so fun, though. So much. It is fun. Especially when the team is like so aggressively disappointing. And there's been times when it's vice versa. You know, when there's a down Packer year or something like that. Tends to not be that way. I know that people are going to correct me on that. But it makes it interesting if you don't take it too seriously. Like the flaming war comments and like the memes and the infamous the Calvin and Hobbes like peeing on like sports logo insert here culture that's been there forever, and the internet amplifies it all. But I think if you grow old enough with it, it makes it fun. Like I think it is a bucket list thing for like a Packer fan to say, I'm going to go to Soldier Field and see a Packer Bear game. You know what I mean? Like the Bears-Packers rivalry is a special thing. It is a special amount of shit talkery. And if you get to a certain age, I think maybe people younger than you and I probably take it a little bit more seriously. But it is fun. It is fun, you know? And also, there's the things that, like, Chicago guys say, like, what else do you have? You have a football team and it, like, stops there. Like, you guys don't leave your house. It's go to the game, go to the bar, inverse repeat. Put snow tires on, and then that's it. Like and like all those things. So with us, it's kind of the same thing. But also, I know a lot of people from Wisconsin were like, it's on your bucket list to go to Chicago and see a Bears-Packer game. It's on your bucket list to go see a Vikings-Packers game if you get to see one and stuff like that too. And also with us, we're kind of like spoiled with sports in Chicago. Like if the Bears suck, hopefully the Hawks are okay. The sad thing is I'm a White Sox fan, and they had like the historically bad year this year, and we have like the Cubs White Sox thing, and the Hawks were so good for like 10, 12 years. They were competitive and got 3 cups and stuff like that too. So I'm spoiled with it. We also have pro soccer here too, if you want to get into the European side of things and all that.
You had Michael Jordan.
And with the Bulls, I was just about to talk about the Bulls. Like the Bulls have like a rivalry with their past. It's almost like, like I love the Bucks too. I've enjoyed what the Bucks have done the past couple of years and done some exciting stuff. How does it go with people in Green Bay? Do you guys wedge into like being like Timberwolves fans, sort of? Like what's the allegiance there?
I support like all Wisconsin teams, but like
you're strictly Wisconsin.
Oh yeah. I don't play around outside Wisconsin, and I'm not a diehard. I'm not like how I am with the Packers. I'm not with the Bucks or the Brewers. Like even when the Bucks, I support them, and I've been to their games, but I couldn't like do a podcast breaking down what the Bucks did. Even when they won the championship, I went out of my way to be like, I'm happy for them, but I'm not like celebrating like we finally did it. Like no, I didn't do nothing. Like I wasn't there.
But that varied across Wisconsin though, right? That varied,
we kind of like. I mean, some people are hardcore into it. Mm-hmm. Like my stepdad, like all like Brewers. I remember as a kid, didn't matter what he was doing. The radio would be on in the garage. If we're outside, whatever was on Brewers. But I like the Brewers too. Like going to a Brewers game and going to a Bucks game is insane. Like it's so fun. But just the sports aren't like where I'm passionate, where I'm going to be like firing up Bear fans. Like how I'm a Bear fans on the internet.
Well, it's so fun to be doing this Odd Triple comedy tour. And just going up to one of the best suburbs of Chicago, the greater Wisconsin area. It's really that's my usually go-to crappy thing. But talking about like that Wisconsin thing, Kenosha's not that far from Chicago. Like it's 45 minutes, right? And we do the Mars Cheese Castle, like that type of loop. And I've done comedy in and out of Milwaukee for 10, 12, 13 years. Like doing those types of trips every 3 or 4 months and enjoying those things. But I've been to the Brat Stop, and the Brat Stop is like right there at the border. Like Brat Stop is right by the border. You ever heard of the Brat Stop before?
No, I've never been to the border. I've heard people talk about it.
Yeah, it's like they have it's a small little town. They have some industrial, like there's a jelly bean factory out there and stuff. So it's like, it's a little industrial, but it's not like I wouldn't call it like a city. It feels like a suburb, and it's not too far from like Six Flags Great America, which is in Illinois, but it's right over the border. But when you go into the Brat Stop, this giant store that's like the size of a department store, they have like a meat section. It's very Wisconsin-y, very Midwestern-y, all of like the knickknacks and things you can buy. It's like the Mars Cheese Castle, but I would say with an attitude and much more drinking. And I remember going in there, and this is when I worked at a radio station called 95 Rock, and I had to drop something off there and leave, and they told me, you're the Illinois guy, you got to go into the main beer hall. And I was like, why? You need to see the bear. And I was like, oh, so they just have like a stuffed bear. You've seen this before, like the smoke shop that has the stuffed bear, right? They had an actual bear hanging from the ceiling of the Brat Stop, just like a stuffed that looked like a real bear, but hanging, which I don't think is an image that people are comfortable with. But he's like, you need to see this thing to be real. And this is something where I think they probably took it down some years ago because people had like cell phones. Maybe this is like 2008, 2009. But once you can start taking pictures of it, and it's just so easy to take a picture of it, maybe we don't have a hanging bear from the ceiling. But I remember just thinking, like, it was like, that's right over the border. That was the level of resentment that people have to Chicago as a city. And I bet the people feel the same way in like New Jersey or something like that too, to like New York City.
I think, I don't really, because like I know a lot of Packer fans like they'll trash Chicago. I'm like, oh, we get shot, this and that. I really don't do that because I've never been there. I'm never gonna go there either. I know I do like big. I do like the thought of a big city, but I ain't going to one. Especially Chicago. I feel like
I ain't gonna talk crap but I ain't going.
I ain't going there. But think about this: how the world is today. I trash the Bears. A lot of Bear fans don't like me. I feel like if the right one saw me and they're like, "Hey, get your phone out," I'm gonna go crack this dude in the head, and I'm gonna go viral. I don't need that in my life. I can't defend myself. I'm too fat these days. I can't run or fight. That's a bad combo.
Well, you would fit in with a Bear crowd. We have a fat fan base.
No, that's what I say though. I said this the other day. I was like, I get along better, even though I trash Bear fans. And a lot of them trash me, but most of them, we understand like it's not real or whatever. We're not going at it. But like Bear fans, I get along.
You would be surprised. You would be This isn't me like crapping on Bear fan because we care, and if your team loses, you care, and if your team wins, we care, right? And I think the Bears, I don't feel like I'm talking out of hand. The Bears are probably like the most mismanaged major NFL franchise of like one of the major cities. Maybe the Cowboys are not too far from it, but the Cowboys as a business are so profitable. Like the Cowboys are a team that people in Europe know. You know what I mean? Like they're a team that people that don't know NFL know. And the Bears are sort of there. Like they're a traditional team, just like the Packers are. But this stuff with the stadium, the stuff with management, the stuff with, like, you just pile it on, And even when they are good, there's still this, like, salt of it, Like, there's still, like, when they went to the Super Bowl in, 06, 07, that year, right? They were a great team, but we had a quarterback that was on the shelf for 8 weeks, and we thankfully had a good backup. And you had one of the best, punt returners of all time in Devin Hester. Yeah. So like you had this team that was interesting, and I'll say this, by the way, Robbie Gould had one of the best kicking years. And I'm a soccer kid. I never played like competitive football. I played like toss around, so I always rooted for the kickers. All right, so Robbie Gould was my guy, and he's also probably one of the highest selling kicker jerseys that I've ever seen people wear. And just a guy who's also he coaches I think he coaches suburban high school football now. So I'm like, so he's like still like in the community and involved with it, and had a good career past the Bears. I believe he's with the 49ers. So I mean, like, that was a special team for me. Like I'm 40. I didn't know. I know the lore of the '85 Bears like a sports documentary, and it's fun to watch that. Like your parents enjoy it. But you guys had like those Favre teams in the '90s into the 2000s, and then the stuff that Aaron was doing and all that. Did Aaron break your heart? Do you call? You know how I know you have a real fan base is when people start talking about guys on the team on a first name basis.
Yeah, I know they do. Like, even like at work, they're like, they're like, the Packers just not like, Aaron said yesterday that, like he told me that. No, but you saw it on TV.
But I just did it too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I did it because I have like a handful of Packer fans that I know through comedy, and they're like, well, Aaron's doing this. Like, hey, we got to take care of Jordan. And I was like, is this a guy you know? Like, is this somebody you know from work? Like, do you have to take care of a guy named Jordan? Sorry, my mic is clipping. There we are. All right, good. Oh, way better. Sorry, my mic is doing something weird. Keep going.
That's right. I'll talk. No, but but Aaron Rodgers like leaving. I actually wasn't even mad because it just seemed like it was time. Like I was arguing with people. Like that was my thing back then. Yeah. Anyone that said anything about Aaron Rodgers, I was like on patrol. I'm like, just anyone say something, and I would just like defend him. And then that was like way before he was even on McAfee, because I felt like Aaron Rodgers was always getting cracked on, but back then, like Skip Bayless type of people. But then, like when that last 2-3 years, you started to see the writing on the wall. It's like, all right, these guys ain't all vibing. Even like when they came back together, like, oh, we're happy. It's kind of like when the parents get divorced. And then the first time the kids and the mom and the dad are all together at like a birthday party, they have to act all like,
they still take the family photo for the kid, but it's not the same. They're not smiling the same way,
Yeah. So like it was all good. And then with Jordan Love, I really believed in him. I really thought Jordan Love, and not because I'm smart and I'm a scout. I'm a biased fan, and I'm like, he's our quarterback. He's the guy. And it was the time because with the contract situation, like they couldn't wait. They had to either go with Rodgers or go with Jordan Love, and you got to go with the young guy or whatever. And obviously they had some background drama But yeah, now the Jets ain't doing so well. But I don't get any enjoyment out of like some Packer fans. They went the other way. Now they don't. Now they like to see them.
I'll call you on that. There is a level of Packer fandom that is weird too. That just amplifies into like the Chicago thing, right? Like I saw people who were like rooting against the Cubs, a baseball team, because that's the Chicago team. So, and it was just like they were playing Cleveland, like when they went. And I'm not even like a Cub fan. Like I go to a Cubs game the way I would go to like a Bucks game or like a Brewers game. I'm having a good time. You guys are the next town over. I want you to do all right. I've had more fun at Wrigley Field going to a concert than a baseball game. I'm a White Sox fan. I'm bitter. I think the White Sox are like an actual Chicago team, and the Cubs are like the Midwestern Yankees. You know what I mean? Like where, oh yeah, they're the New York Yankees, but they're the Yankees of the Northeast. You know, so like that's the way I visualize them and kind of culturalize them. But when people like go off on a city just because that's the city, I'm just like, come on, dude, like calm down. You know, like dude, calm down.
I had a joke. I made a video one time. I was trashing the Bears, and then someone said something. I forget, but I went on a rant and I said I root against every Chicago team, any team in Illinois. I said even the Little League World Series. I root against those kids too. And people got like really like upset. They're like, "Why would you say that?"
They don't know you're doing a bit. You know what I mean? Especially because it's like if you get it and it's the phone, right? And it's just this box. Like some of you guys are watching this on like this box where you're just flipping up, right? And now him and I are having like a long form conversation because we've all whittled down our judgments to what can I watch in 60 seconds on this, and then button judgment, maybe type something, button judgment. You know what I mean? Like, whereas if somebody's actually watching you and I have a conversation, all right, he's not a big guy. I'd have a brat with that guy. If someone says they want to have a brat with me, all right, let's hang out, dude. All right, Doug, like, tell me about how your wife left you and now you're deer hunting. You know what I mean? Like, I'm down to hang out and joke for those people, and that's kind of like what we're gonna do with this show too. So.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing though. Like even at like Lambeau Field, like no matter who the fan base is, dude, like it's not real outside the phone. And like even like on the phone, like people, because I'll make them rant videos, and people are like, then they'll meet me like, oh, you're nothing like that. Well, I'm not screaming all the time.
No, because you're the red light's on. You know what I mean? Like, and it's also like there's that like I got to turn it over real fast, and some of this will get clipped. Like I'll clip some of this, you'll clip some of this, but like I can still appreciate like what a team can do for 4 full quarters. I can appreciate what a team's like culture can be for like decades and stuff like that, you know? So like, and there's, especially now with the internet and like how things are cut and edited, and like, I'm really into sports documentaries more than I am watching like live sports sometimes, you know? So like I watched, the Cincinnati Bengals dropped a great documentary with NFL film stuff and their own talking heads thing, and they put it on their own YouTube, and it was the Freezer Bowl, a 1981 AFC game.
Oh.
I wouldn't look that up. But, like, I saw it on my YouTube. I was like, that looks like a good watch. I'll watch the hell out of that. I would watch that more than I would watch a game now, because I think those stories are interesting. Like, I've watched, like, some Lombardi videos. I'm like, what a character. You know what I mean? Like, what a character of a guy. You know? And like, I can appreciate that. Like, you can watch some Ditka stuff and just be like,
oh yeah, and Hallis, like those. Yeah. If I see, I always say that because like the old teams, even the Cardinals, you don't really see a lot of videos from them.
No, but because there isn't much footage of them.
They weren't doing. I don't know what they were doing. They might have been doing some stuff, but they were there for sure. But yeah, but like Chicago, like even like the old stories of back in the day, the Bears, you know, Hallis helped the Packers. The Packers wouldn't be around probably, not in Green Bay, and probably wouldn't even be a team at all if they didn't help. And then someone said that at one point Green Bay helped Chicago in some, or the Bears in some way. I don't know. I don't know the details of that, but yeah, dude, that's just like it's a rivalry, but that is part of the rivalry, and that's when people say, well, it's one-sided, so it's not that a rivalry anymore. That irritates me because passionate Bear fans, like the passionate Bear fans, hate the Packers like no other human can hate anything or another team, for sure.
So we'll get to the game, right? Because we have another game in December. That's the one that's. Do they announce a date or time for that? Like a date for that?
Yeah, I don't know when it is, but it's at the end of the season.
That's the one that was like the TB to determine game, right?
Yeah.
When I look at the giant Miller Lite schedule, because I'm in a bar 5-7 nights a week doing comedy, I always look at the schedule and be like, all right, we got one more Green Bay one coming up. But this last fucking heartbreaker of a goddamn game. I'm sorry if I'm swearing. But it was heartbreaking, right? I'm watching this game. It was like, we probably weren't going to make the playoffs. If we were, this game would have helped us maybe get there, be in contention for something, right? And a very tough division because Vikings are really competitive. Lions are having a great run, right? So we have a very competitive division, and we thought Caleb, talented guy, but the defensive line has holes in it like a piece of Swiss cheese, And so if we can make this work, the kick ends. My thing is I was like, but if we get one win over the Packers, it's still a pretty good year. You know what I mean? Like to me, it works
and
the same
way. And it
could
have steamrolled. I think it could have motivated and
and then you would have been we got one on the Packers.
Yeah, I feel
let's go into next week and get another. It would be. It was a decisive game. Now you literally saw fans just be like, done.
Yeah, and as a Packer fan, that makes me happy. Very much. No, but who?
Wait, is there edge? Are they hanging onto the mountain by the clips of their little fingers? Let me step on their paws.
My hatred for the Bears started as a very my best friend was a Bears fan, lived next door to me.
You were raised.
Yeah, I really was. My friend, he wouldn't even let him get in the house on Sundays. The Packers are playing. Get out of here, because that was late '80s, early '90s. So that was real. The Packer fans were like, "Nah, you're not allowed in the house," because he would. He'd always have something to say too. He'd have all my uncles all riled up and stuff, talking crap about the Packers. they're mad at a 12-year-old. Get out of here!
I'm mad at a child. A child must bear the sin of a professional sports team. It's ridiculous.
You gotta try and knock it out of them. No, I don't know any too many Bear fans around me right now. They stay clear. But I want to ask you about comedy. All right?
Sure. Yeah. Ask me up, man. Shut me up.
So, first of all, you're obviously better at this than I am, because you do a lot. You do radio stuff. You do all types of stuff. So, how did that all start for you?
Just doing everything together.
First of all, stand up. I think that's an interesting thing to try.
That's what I'm going to be doing this Odd Thruple tour. We're doing those 3 nights, just in and around Green Bay. It's in my Instagram, plug. I started doing stand up when I was in this lull in radio. I did Chicago, we have the Second City, which is where a lot of the SNL people start. So you do improv, sketch stuff, and you're working. It's an extension of doing plays and stuff in high school. I knew I wasn't going to play sports in high school. I was playing soccer. I came from a soccer family. My brother played Division III soccer. My dad was an IHSA referee for the state of Illinois. My older brother Bob, he stayed in soccer. He's a policeman, and he started the Chicago men's police department team and had an affiliation with the MLS team. So I was raised around sports, but I knew I couldn't fire with my left leg. And if you want to play college soccer, you really have to be ambidextrous with your feet. So I kind of knew I just had this wall. I was big. I was 210. That's 220 in that direction. When you're that in soccer, that's very big. And if you can move, you're all right. But if you can't do anything in terms of set piece plays, you're just kind of you're not going to be a collegiate player. So I kind of knew that, and that's kind of when I started doing comedy and radio at the same time. That was senior year of high school, but stand-up I didn't get going with until I was laid off from 3 college, post-college, right out of college, 08, just an awful time. The housing, the recession, everything. I go to Iowa, I'm out in a year. I was at 95 Little Rock for a cup of coffee, which is right in Kenosha. That's why I went to the Broad Stop. And then eventually got into it with Q101 and had some layoffs and different stuff like that. But Q101 in Chicago, the alternative station, that's the cool, hey, you guys want to come see a big rock show in Milwaukee or Chicago, especially come here for Lollapalooza or Riot Fest, those big festivals. Q101 is a part of that. You go to LA, it's K-Rock, KROQ. Those stations are a part of it. You guys have Razor and WAPL and stuff like that. That's part of the culture. And I have friends that work there. And people I know there, and I have friends at 93X in Minneapolis as well. So it's you kind of know this network of if I'm not going to play sports, I can be on the thing that's the sports that's there. And I loved radio already. The Score 670. If you guys want to hear Bears fans be really aggravated,
I've heard about that station.
Oh, it's great, dude. Shout out to them, dude. It's great talk, stuff. And you guys have that culture too. So it was all right, well, this is something where I could always be doing something funny between songs. Radio was an extension of that. Stand-up was kind of I was doing in a lull where I was working radio, but I wasn't on air. I was working in a marketing role for the station I'm at now. And then I started working at clubs, and I kind of knew how to host, how to rile things up. I'm a big pro wrestling fan. I work in some pro wrestling stuff, doing things like on microphones and announcing and commentary. So it's it's weird how you get yourself into a spot where you're doing this, right? But like when you were 15, I'd love to do that. But what do? Like, there's no option for it. Now the internet kind of opens it up, but then there's still the car radio. You can still go on there and plug comedy shows. You can still go and do podcast. Now all I do is just kind of stuff I wanted to do when I started doing it. I do more, I'm on a microphone like all day long. I literally am in the room where I sleep. I have a nice setup here, and I did a wrestling podcast, and I did a radio meeting, and I'll have this, and then I'm gonna edit comedy videos, and I'm like, oh wait, this is my job. So 17-year-old me would be pretty jazzed about what I'm doing. Jazzed. He'd be jazzed. I sound like my mom.
I don't know if he'd say that.
No, he would be like, it's cool. Just say it's cool. Like, what? Jazzed?
That'd be jazzed if I could be on the radio.
But yeah, so that's kind of where I started doing stand. I was always the black sheep in my family. I do a lot of jokes about Midwestern family stuff, and I've worked with a lot of great comics out of Wisconsin. Wisconsin has a lot of great comedy. Dude, it's a underrated element. Specifically, Comedy on State in Madison is probably regarded as one of the best clubs in the country. Appleton has a wonderful club. Gotta shout out Laughing Tap. Laughing Tap on 6th Street in Milwaukee, I think 5th or 6th Street there, near the Walker's Point area, is just an incredible venue that opened up in the pandemic. They got some state art funding there. I did the Milwaukee Comedy Festival in front of 25 people with all the restrictions and everything like that. And then they've always been really, really great to me. And then now doing stuff with Under the Lights, where I'm Under the Lights, great promoter Ryan Bruno Leishman. Bruno has me we're doing Peshtigo. We're doing these towns where there's a fish fry in here the next day, towns of but you do the show and they don't even know your name. They just know comedy came to our town of 5,000 or 7,000 people. We got to go to that. You hear that and they say this stuff. They're like, no, we got to support live stuff needs to come to our town. So we got to turn out for that. And we got to be here. And hey, you better be good. Me and my wife left the house. When people say that to you, you're like, oh, okay, all right. Because you realize people will drive to it, And then you just meet these wonderful characters. You're like, I know someone like you. You're just from 3 hours away from where I grew up. So it's just the characters are the same, but the names and the places are different. It's a lot of that. We went into this show, James Fisher Jr. and Tina Ukana, the comedians on this tour with for the Odd Thruple tour. It's a very odd tour. It's me, who looks like I could just throw on a Carhartt jacket and you would just, you would trust my opinion at a bait shop. Just turn to me and be like, what jerky do I get? What worms are good? And I would just tell you, and you'd be like, he looks like a guy who knows, right? But you don't know that I'm a dirty, no good fib. And so I'm there, right? And we do this show to Wasaki, Wisconsin. Wasaki.
Shout out Wasaki.
Shout out Wasaki. Shout out the Manor on Main. Shout out. All right. Shout out the Chippewa, where we got to drink really, really well. I'll get into all those places. But dude, we go and do the show. We drive 4 hours on a Saturday afternoon. I tape out radio. I'm listening to myself on the radio, taped out, Q11. We're jetting in a camper that we think we're going to sleep in because we couldn't get a hotel. The show kind of came together quickly, right?
All right.
Bruno has this in this place, Manor on Main. And we get there, and it could be, maybe we do a show for 40 people. We get there, it's 300 people. We're not names. Comedy came to Wasaki. We got to support live entertainment in our small town. And you come to us, and we're going to bring the party to you. And this isn't just people in their 20s. No, this is grandparents showing up. The parking lot has Harleys in it. You know what I mean? People came out, they did the dinner package, they're there. I was like, oh, this is what we want. In Chicago, there's so many options, right? So you have so many. So it was we were so supported, but we were also so heckled by people that didn't know they were heckling us because they were hammered. Hammered. People were drinking it was everyone's wedding. If people were drinking all their kids had a wedding and then they just all got moved into one room, and we had such a good time. So I'm there with James Fisher Jr., just this smooth talking, awesome black guy comic. We have to say that because you'll see the flyers. I'm there with a 6 foot tall Assyrian woman who has purple hair and Tina Ukana, and me we're weird. Like when we walk in, everyone's like, well, that's the people from Chicago, right? And they know. We walk in and like 200 people turn around, and we know James is the only black man we've seen for 3 hours. All right, so this is odd for him. He has to go on. I have to go on. Like, people are ripped, hammered. They don't know they're heckling us, but they're having a good time. So you kind of like roll with it. Don't heckle a comedian. You go to a live comedy show.
Dude.
If you but some people don't know it. Like people.
I'm saying like
the person who wants to fight you wants to ruin the show. The person who wants the show to be about themselves. That's the person I'm talking to. We all know the person that wants to fight you because they just lose it and they can't control themselves. But the person that wants to make the show about themselves, we will make you the show for about 20 seconds and then that's it. You know what I mean? Like leave it there. You know. If you want us, if you like go to us and be like, hey, it's my buddy's birthday. Can you mess with him? Like, yeah, I'll do that. But I can't like stop my whole show for it, you know. So, but we have like 4 tables of that. Of everybody like, oh, you make fun of him? Get this guy. This is my wife, Darlene. You're like, make fun of Darlene. You're like that type of thing. So we're dealing with all of these people, but they're still really nice, you know. And so we leave and we realize the people that were giving us the most chatter. We were in the Manor in Maine, in their big banquet hall room that they made this beautiful stage for us on. The people who are heckling us, they own the Chippewa Corner Bar Tavern across the street. But they've been drinking. And they're like, would you like to keep drinking? We're like, yeah, we're going to be staying in the camper van. They're like, you ain't staying in the camper van. We're like, this guy I don't even know just tells me I'm not staying in a van. All right, you've been drinking. I don't know why you said that. Okay. So we go over to the Chippewa. Within 20 minutes, they bring in the patron of the farts and arts, okay, who is at our show. He comes over. I guess he owns a pizzeria in town. Says, you guys want to eat? Brings in free food for us. We've already been fed. Well, yeah, we'll have a pizza, sure. And he goes, and we'll get you the farmhouse. I was like, what? We got a house. They just gave us keys to a house on someone's farm 5 minutes away. So we have to go and check it out so we know that we're not in a death trap, right?
Yeah.
And I don't want to go to Ed Gein's farmhouse, all right? I'll give you that, Wisconsin, all right? Yeah, you guys got great football and serial killers, all right? So
yeah, we got a couple.
We got a couple. You said it real dark and creepy. Yeah, you know what you're doing. We got a couple. All right, so we go and check it out. We go back to the bar. Butts were signed. Human butts were signed. I've never been hit on in a more aggressive, odd way by women twice my age. Shirts were removed at the close of the final call for the last beer. And all of these people were born in a year that begins with 19. You know what I mean? Like, so like this is a fun crowd. You know what I mean? So like I was really loved it, and I just hope we get to replicate those wild Wisconsin nights when it's a little bit colder. We do that in July, but I assume there's some overcompensation in December, you know?
Yeah, but I do feel like the older crowd, like when something happens, especially you're talking about like towns like Wasaki, those small type of towns.
Yeah.
Like some of those people don't ever go outside. I mean, for like an event, they probably get drunk in their basement like I do or whatever. Like, but like, I don't think that there's a lot going on. So when something is, they're like, "Oh, let's go all out. We're gonna strip for these guys."
I know, but then there's also like a part of me like when I'm watching it under those circumstances, you don't get too offended because none of them, like if they're mean, like everyone knows the difference, right? People have social skills, but like it's also like, oh, this is a ball for them, and we're the band that's playing for that party, right? So like with our jokes and everything like that. And you also have people that can have like maybe more of an expectation what comedy is now because there's so much of it online and there's
that's like a social media thing with the comedians always posting the hecklers or like even the crowd work. Yeah. But sometimes the hecklers too. So people are like, that's what you do when you go to a comedy store. You act like a douchebag.
Yeah, but there's shows. I mean, there's the Matt Rife fact, and Matt's a very successful comedian. I know people that have worked with him. He's a nice guy, you know. But he built his brand on just doing crowd work clips. Millions and millions of people watching it. Now that's like already played out. It's like already like like now you have shows where you go to the show and you say this is a crowd work show. I'm going to be doing this with you, or it's not, and you take care of it and it's done early. Our show, we're doing our acts, man. We're playing our A bits. These are acts that we work on 5, 6, 7 nights a week. You know, I have a really great 20, 30 minutes I'm going to be doing on these shows that I'm really, really happy for. And I'm going to record an album, hopefully, in the next year.
That's awesome.
So what you're going to see is stuff I'm going to put on an album that isn't out yet. And some of it is stuff I've been working on for like a long, long time, and I got it just where I want it. You know what I mean? So I'm looking forward to it. It's be fun, and also it's relatable. It's not like I'm a big city ass who doesn't know how to like relate to somebody. I have alarms going off to tell me when
what's going on.
Remember, call yourself a fib. I have to do that.
No, I think that was probably the alert you got. It said there's a fib in town. Like, no, that's me.
I have one of those alarms. Matt, on my phone that you have to shake the phone like when it goes off. That's how.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I have to organize myself. How's the podcasting digital game treating you? How long have you been doing the show now?
Like I started like that thing. Like I was thinking earlier when you were talking about like how you got started or whatever, or like you dreamt about it. Like I never ever thought I would be like making podcasts.
Someone just said you should do this.
Yeah, like literally what happened, because I started off by like I was a Packer meme page. Well, when I first started, I was doing Vine. I would do eye jokes.
But yeah, Vine was fun. Vine was like there's a lot of things on Vine I wish that stuck around. You know, like I didn't.
You were on Vine?
No, but I watched it. I didn't make anything on it, but I watched a lot of stuff on it.
Yeah, I just made like the eye videos, like 6-second videos, and then I started to get bored with it as it kind of was dying off. So then I stopped or whatever. But then I just started Instagram a Packer meme page because my son was doing Packer edits. So I was like, oh, I'll do meme kind of so we can have something to talk about. And then it started to do well. But then that guy eventually got boring. I'm like, I'm not going to make memes forever. Like, so then I was thinking, my friend Ben, the Green Bay guy on Instagram and everywhere else, he was like, you should just do like, make a podcast and like just start doing your stuff and Packer related. And we were kind of both having that same idea. And so I was like, yeah, I'll just start doing that. So then I was doing eye jokes about the Packers, but like I got some reaction, like Devontae Adams. I talked about this on I think my last podcast. I made a video and my eyes were all jacked. I think I was wearing sunglasses. I said, some people say Devontae Adams is top 2. And I take my glasses off and I said, hell, I don't see so good, but I heard he's pretty good. And he laughed at it. And that,
you have such a great sense of humor about that issue where, you know, like, people have been giving you shit about it. So you're like, oh, well, I got to adapt and I got to do it on my own terms. Is that kind of how you treat it?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Because even like if I make a video that my eyes, you know, I'm not doing a joke, and then someone like makes fun of my eyes, I'll always post a GIF or a meme of me because I'm like, no, I'll make the jokes around here, buddy. About my eyes.
Don't steal my bit, bud. Okay.
And I have yet to have like a real troll, someone really come at me that had a better joke. That's why I think it's funny.
In terms of the cross-eyed jokes, you have them locked down. You got them all. Know it's every way they're coming at you. It's your utility. You're a utility comedian. You have a very specific. You have a very specific element you can land on somebody.
Yeah, I just feel like but like how it started though is like when I was a kid, like I didn't like it back in the day because it looks like I'm one eye's going off on a cruise. Yeah. So like people would make fun of me as a kid. You're like, oh, whatever. So at some point I was like, you just got to own it, especially like when he started doing social media. When I started doing videos and like, obviously it's gonna get brought up. You might as well just own it and I mean I have for so long it doesn't matter because like some people like, oh, he's just hiding his feelings. I'm like, I'm really not, dude. And 8th grade,
comedians do that to a degree. Like we joke about stuff that's like really serious and sad, right? But like you figure out how to like make it your own. I guess is the way to do that.
Yeah, I absolutely So then I just started. I started the podcast that first year, and like I was like, yeah, I'll do a podcast. Yeah, it'll be no problem. And then I started doing it. I'm like, dude, I suck at this. Like I'm talking to myself. I can't get guests because no one really knows who I am. But then from the Packer meme Instagram, from those...
You have a network of people who are like-minded.
And Packer players followed it because they're like, oh, this is funny. And a lot of them followed after I started doing my own thing because I'm a pretty positive Packer fan. Like, I'll follow this idiot. And then, so then I started asking them, like, hey, you want to come on my podcast? And they're like, yeah. So I was getting players on my podcast who I had no business, like, talking to. Not that I have no business talking to, but, like, I wasn't... polished.
You weren't coming in like a traditional sports media person.
Yeah, I was just a fan.
You weren't like, hey, I work at the local ESPN affiliate or something like that. No, you weren't like the local TV news guy that has a podcast, there's nothing wrong with that. Like that's also equally respectable. But with like the open platform, you are the definition of a guy who's like a personality, who's diehard, who knows the team, who has a street level genuine nature. That would make me be like, I want to hear the official authority And then I want to know, hey, what are the streets saying here? You know, what's actually going on? What are we saying about so-and-so who did this on Sunday? You know, like there's something to be said for that. There's an intersectionality between these type of things.
Oh, yeah, I totally agree, especially in sports. Like, even like for Bears, but for sure Packers, because that's why I know, is like there's podcasts that you get all the information.
Yeah.
You're going to get everything that's going on, every coach, every word he said, all the quotes. And then there's other ones who, you know, are more funny or whatever, like screw around. Mine is just kind of like...
I'll bring up the Chicago thing. This is deep dish, okay?
Yeah, this is just the drunk guy.
Dude. This is the drunk guy. This is the deep dish. This is hanging around. This is giggles. This is busting chops. This is me getting mad at Reggie White for something he did in the 90s. You know what I mean? That's what this is, all right? Oh, man, Reggie White, he messed up some guys in the 90s.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, I forgot what I was going to say now. I had something good right there, too. But it left me. Yeah, but so then, I was going to say, like, I think one of the funniest thing is I've interviewed players, and, like, I'm drinking. It's like I had Preston Smith on, like Kenny Clark on my podcast, and, like, I wasn't, like, hammered or nothing, but, like, I was having a few drinks because I feel like, because Tom Crabtree, he's a former Packer player.
Yeah.
When I first started my first podcast, like that first year, then I quit, but I started again. But he was mainly my only guest, and he didn't know it. I'm like, hey, want to come on my podcast? And he said, yeah, because I knew him from Twitter or whatever. He was cool with the fans or whatever, and we got to know each other a bit. So then, like, every 3 weeks, he'd come on my podcast. He's probably thinking, like, this guy's got him lined up. I'm glad he can get me in. And then, but I'd always be nervous when I started talking to people, so I'd always ask him, like, what can you do? He's like, just have a drink. He's like, and then he kind of loosens you up. I don't think he meant to agree I did it, but no, but I think it's cool, like, just a fan. And I've no like journalism, though. Like, I never learned how to be a podcaster, but I think if you just talk to people, especially like the live streams, you're talking to chat or you have someone on, and you just screw around, drink beer or not drink beer. I don't drink them all of them. It depends who I'm with, especially what time it is.
Well, if you let me, I would have moved over from the Mountain Dew Zeros a long time ago. No rip to the fine people at Mountain Dew Zero, which I believe you can find at this wonderful, reliable location across the entire great state of Wisconsin. Quick Trip, am I correct? Can I find some? I'm going to be on the road. We're going to be on the road 3 days. We're doing at least a half a dozen Quick Trip visits on this big tour we're doing here through Wisconsin. I'm looking forward to it.
Dude, yeah. The beautiful thing about Quick Trip is you know what you're getting when you pull up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It is a gas station that means what it says. Like, when you're not going to, I'll get a snack. No. Quick Trip, they have the Wawas in the Northeast. You hear these Wawas where you go in, there's a selection of sandwiches. There's a selection of beer. I could go to a Quick Trip and get the beer I know I'm going to drink after this comedy show. Not the beer I'm going to drink at the comedy show. The beer I'm going to drink after the comedy show. I can get rare, like jerky. I can get fresh-made food, and I get some scratch-offs. Because my goal in this tour is to take as much money from Wisconsin as possible, you know? So, as possible. Yes. We're gonna I don't know, build a small little encampment for Aaron Rodgers when he retires. We'll keep him on the north side or something.
Well, about scratch-offs, I always say, when you're on the road, you're somewhere, you got to buy them. No one wins them in your town.
No one
they
wins
win
them
in other places.
Other towns. Somebody's winning the pick 3 from Wisconsin, and they live in, like, North Dakota, and they came to you guys for a weekend.
Dude, always. It'll be some small town, 400 people sold this lottery ticket, and this dude from New Jersey won it. Like, why are you here? Take your ass back to Jersey.
Come on, we need improvements on the Nightcrawler shop, and some jerk from Patterson, New Jersey, can buy the town now. You know?
Yeah, right. It's like, dude, I feel like whenever anyone wins a significant amount of money in Wisconsin, though, it's always some small town. So even like I'm a Wisconsin dude my whole life, and I'm like, what? Where is that? It's like a little blip with like 300 people, and they have one Quick Trip, and they sold them a scratcher. Bought the town.
Oh, dude. Yeah, I'm just amped up. I've always had good times doing road trips in Wisconsin and doing like the Quick Trip visits and like the joy of like listening to music in the car and all those fun things. And these shows are going to be awesome. We're going to do Friday, Saturday, Sunday all throughout the area. It's going to be real fun. And also if you don't know us, we're genuinely funny. We're getting on stage all the time. This is not a show that's going to be like offensive to anyone. I don't care who you voted for. I don't care who you didn't vote for. I don't care how much you hate your kids. I don't care how much you love your kids. I don't think you need to bring your kids. I think you need to be an adult who can come and hear I almost swore, a good couple of funny stories and just let loose, man. That's what we're going for. Just get over it and just turn your mind off. Have a couple pops and a couple giggles. That's what we're going for here.
Yeah, dude, absolutely, dude. I think comedy shows are great. I haven't been to a lot. I saw Dane Cook.
Dane's awesome.
Live. That was actually, the Tom Cratchit, that player. I actually met him at the Dane Cook concert because he messaged me. He's like, "Hey, I got an extra meet and greet. You want to come meet Dane Cook with me?"
Where did you see him at? Where did you see him
at? Green Bay at the. Where was that?
Big venue, big auditorium.
It had to have been the Resch, I think.
Is that an arena?
Yeah.
I think Race Center.
Well, now there's like a bigger one, but back then it was just the one.
Okay, they have like multiple theater amphitheaters inside. Big
I've never been to the other one, just the old one.
I just heard people say it, but I know it was like, are they playing that big room? Are they playing like an arena? That type of thing. I saw him in the Allstate Arena. He's still called the Rosemont Horizon. Beautiful place. I'm a big WWE fan. If you want to see great wrestling, if they have a show and you want to make the trip down, go there. They have this wooden ceiling when you're there, so it really hides the acoustics of an arena in a nice way, and it really makes it really warm. But he did it in the round, and it was about 5 years before I started doing stand-up, but I was doing like sketch and improv stuff, and everybody loved Dane. In 2000s, everybody had the two CDs, mid-2000s. If you went to college, he was the first guy. He was the first Matt Rife in terms of a comedian that made an audience online, and everyone. Yeah,
he was the first MySpace.
Yes. He was the first real social media star to me. You know. Yep. But also he had the meat. He was a funny comic. If you went and saw him, he had a great show.
Dude, that B&E joke he does.
Dude, breaking and entering. My ultimate favorite is off Harmful to Swallow when he talks about his brother getting him a job at the fast food restaurant and how you would just mess around and hit on every woman. And he didn't know what the women looked like, but he would just hear them through the speaker and he would hit on them and they would move up and they wouldn't look the way he expected. And just the ridiculously of and he would take a joke that's kind of like and he would just make this wild thing because he could overperform it and stuff like that. So just a ridiculous performer. Love him. Big fan of him. Big fan of Maria Bamford, who does characters. She should be one of Minnesota's finest, not too far from here up the road. So a lot of great people. And like I said, man, just turn your brain off. Don't bring your gavel.
Just go laugh.
Don't bring your gavel. Let yourself go. If one joke offends you because of this, and then you're laughing at something else, bullshit. That kind of defeats it.
Does that happen in shows? People?
Yeah. You get that.
I can't imagine, because even if I wouldn't say I don't get offended, but I don't really, obviously not at a comic. But if I was at a place and something was happening that I didn't like, I would just leave.
Or just wait. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think of it this way, doing rock radio. I hate that song. You guys play this song that I hate. I hear that all the time, right?
Yeah.
You play this song you hate. I was like, well, do you like this song? And you like this song? You like this song? But the thing is, we'll go, once you're the guy who plays the song, though. I'm the guy who plays that song. It's one thing, so they'll be like, oh, I love the bar, or I love this other person in the show, or I love this on the show. I was like, that's fine. If you like the other comedians on the show, you don't like me. Great. But I've had a lot of people, especially if I'm doing 30, 40 minutes, they'll be like, hey, once you started, I didn't like you. But at the end, I liked you. And I was like, great, done. And I hear that a lot, especially if you have the time, if you have a significant amount of time, because it's clear. It's just, well, that offends me, but this doesn't offend me. The worst is when people are like, I need you to say something that's offensive that makes somebody else angry. I was like, that's not how it works. You know what I mean? That's not genuine. That's not genuine.
Yeah. Yeah, I forgot what I was going to say. Again, I had a good question, too. But yeah, no, here's what it is. That's the thing about comedy, just about liking and not liking.
Yeah.
It's like music.
Mm-hmm.
Some people aren't going to be into Bill Burr. They might like Jim Gaffigan more, or whoever.
Or they like something that he did early on. I know a lot of people talk about George Carlin like that. Oh, I like the stuff he did in the 70s and 80s and 90s, and then 90s he lost me or something like that. But or I like Dice Clay, or I like somebody who's really young, like a Taylor Tomlinson, who's really, really popular right now. She does After Midnight on CBS. She's great. you know, and like, or I know some people like, I only want to watch female comedians. That's all I want to see, you know, and that's fine. Also, like, our show that we're presenting is all over the map. It's me, 40-something white guy, smooth talking black guy, a Syrian purple haired woman who was big on Kill Tony. If you like Kill Tony, Tina Yukana was big on that. So you have like these three personalities where if you see us on a poster, you're like, how do they know each other? We know each other through comedy, and like, we're good friends. We would not meet each other in any other circumstance in life. We probably don't like the same music. I may have to wear headphones through some of it. I may sing along with some of the songs. But there's a lot of things where you can just realize, like, I don't have to know somebody from over there, but I can ask them a question and be like, yeah, I had a prom date just like that. Or I had someone break my heart just like that. Everyone's got red blood, dude. You know, like once you boil it down, like, there's sad days, good days, bad days. We some of us go out and drink. Some people just drive the person home and smoke weed, right? Come to the party. Like, if you just turn your brain off, come to the party, you got red blood, come out and hang out. You got a good attitude, you don't want to be a dick, come on, hang out. You want to bring that date, maybe third, fourth date? Comedy show is a way to go. Because then you know their sense of humor, you know what they like, you know what made you, I don't like that, but I did like this. Perfect thing. You want to try, not same first date, third, fourth date. You know what I mean? Like that.
First date's kind of interesting too. That might be like for reality TV.
No, but it's way too much quiet time. Because you're sitting and watching. That's true. You know, but I mean, like, a third or fourth date, like a month.
Well, maybe that's better for some people.
Oh yeah, true. But maybe
want to hang out and not talk for about a couple hours.
No, well, you've been married for 20 years. Okay,
I have.
You know what I mean? That's all right. You know, and they say widow's weekend. Maybe you gotta come back from that first big hunting weekend. I know those guys too, where you got to make it up to the wife because you've been gone for 4 days, right? That type of thing. Well, this is a way to do that too. So come on out.
Yeah. So, like, you mentioned, like, comedians and being friends or whatever. Yeah. I noticed that because I'm a big comedy fan. I watch. I mean, I was watching Comedy Central. I used to watch. I mean, I always tell that I seen Kevin Hart way before he's famous, like Chris Tucker.
Yeah.
I think Dane Cook maybe was on Comedy Central back in the day. But whenever you hear these stories, like behind the scenes podcasts, whatever it is, they always say like they're all friends.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it seems like the top ones, they're all friends together. Like Chris Rock is friends with. You met Eddie Murphy and like those guys.
It's the same thing in the NFL. Like the guys who have really good careers, that are good people, that endear themselves. Even guys who like, there are guys who like get their kneecaps blown out by somebody on another team, and they'll still talk to that guy. And like that guy changed your life physically, but you would have done it to him. You know, like it's weird. Like that doesn't make sense to me. But then I'm going to go and do a show called Roast Battle tonight. I'm not battling. But comedians get up, and we have a code of honor, and you know what it is, and you can make a joke about this, and you can't make a joke about that. I'm going to go up, and it's 7 jokes. And I did this show for years. I hosted it, I performed on it, I battled on it. But you would know where the line is, and some people get really hurt. Feelings would get really hurt. But then at the end of it, it's like, all right, we're going around the corner, we're going to have a beer. You know, like, so, like, everybody, at the end of it, like, it can be a little dramatic, and, you know, there's some of those things, but everybody gets along. You know, like, if you want to get along, you can get along. If you don't want to get along, I don't think you ever wanted to get along.
Yeah, because I always like see like even like older comedians like they talk about like, oh, I've been friends with him since forever, and like the laugh factor, like, and then even like some that didn't go to the same levels, like they still like they ended up being a producer or a writer or whatever.
Which is wonderful.
It seems like a camaraderie, like, you know, between
comparison. Like how many people got into football they didn't get to have a great 15, 13-year career, right? How many guys wash out after 2 or 3 years, but then go into coaching, or they do the collegiate, or they go into another part of sports or something like that, or they take on broadcasting. It's great. I know a lot of guys who went into the NFL through other means, and they're never wanted to play. They always wanted to coach. They always want to be in the sports business side, the marketing side, you know? There's probably a good guy wearing a Bears costume right now underneath the hood, like dressed like a big giant bear. Like, I want to hear that guy's story.
Have you seen the videos of that Bear fan? His girlfriend like records him. He's a comedian, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
But they're so hilarious because she makes fun of him. You just reminded me of that because he was wearing a whole bear outfit for this last game, and he like reacts to like the game losing, and then she makes fun of him, and he just how he reacts. It's so hilarious. I wish I knew his name.
Dude, the fingertip. All right, Cairo Santos, by the way. Cairo Santos. That's not on him. Like they put him in that position. Eberflus is an awful coach. Should have went for another play, gave another 10, 15 yards. He could have kicked it out from farther, would have put him in a way better position. Great kicker. Probably, I think maybe one of the best kicker we've had since Robbie Gould. I love a good kicker, right?
I don't like Robbie Gould.
You like
whenever you say his name. Only reason I don't, and not as a human, but as a player, because when he beat the Packers with the Bears back in the day, he said some stuff. But then with the Niners in the playoffs, he
got you from two sides.
Yeah,
he got you from the South and the West.
And then he was like walking. It was on camera, and he like started trashing Lambeau and like saying some stuff. And I got a little feelings hurt. I'm like, screw that guy forever. But
now,
like,
if you saw him, you'd be like, "Let me buy him a Miller Lite. I'll buy him a Miller Lite. I'll buy."
Yeah, like I'm not the type of guy. Like I don't trash players, even like on other teams. But I will laugh when they do bad or whatever. But like I don't. But Robbie Gould,
you're honest though, Matt. You're honest about it. You know?
Yeah, dude. But yeah, but Robbie Gould, I think it's funny because he's a kicker, and people, if I had to list my like least liked players over like whatever over the years, he'd be on the list of like the guys that triggered me a little bit at some point. Like obviously I don't want bad things to happen for him,
it's
but
so instantaneous. You see all of these things in a football game. This guy does this guy, and the kicker does one thing. Like one thing. And I also think that's why they don't get respected so much, because they're only doing the one thing, right?
Yeah.
But I also think that's why they're so much more special to what they do. Robbie Gould won an NFC championship. He did it. He scored that point in tough weather, with the snow coming down, 90-degree angle, Chicago, I think it was Chicago. But he did it in a cold weather game and nailed it and did really well. And Kairos, he didn't. That isn't his fault. That's a really bad special teams call. We probably should have went for another team. It's coaching, right? He's been hitting 56-yarders. The kicking renaissance in football is really entertaining to watch. You have guys who are kicking. The guy in the Colts, I was reading this story. This guy never played a professional down of football. He played high school football a little bit. He was a punter. Never kicked until after college. And was a soccer player, and then got it. He was working. He had like an office job, right? And an arena UFL team got him, found him. They knew him through a high school guy. Tried out for that. All right, did 1 year. Got drafted by the Colts. Now he's kicking the biggest numbers for the Colts. That's huge numbers.
Kickers are wild in the NFL because you hear a lot of stories, or even people are looking at soccer players from other countries. Yeah. If you can get through the uprights, like even Pat McAfee talks about when he got drafted, and they're like, "Can you hold?" And he's like, "Yeah, absolutely." And he's like, "I've never held before in my life," So then after he got there, he's like, "Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing," but because he lied, he just take it out. But yeah, but like nowadays, it seems like they don't care if you can kick it far and through the poles. Like they don't care what you were doing last Tuesday. Cancel your meetings. You got to kick.
But it is one of those jobs where you can do that. And you also have like guys who are special team guys. The snappers tend to be guys like that. Guys who can snap for different types of positions and like specialty players and stuff like that. And also you see all these rugby guys. There's been a big talk of like a lot of rugby guys can be making the leap over to football because they're not 300 pounds, but they can hit like it and they can move fast and they have a different level of endurance and they have a different level of cardio. And when 20 years ago it was like, you can't be, if you're going to be playing a real hard tackle position in this game, you got to be 300 pounds. Now that isn't the case anymore. You used to be the Michael Vick evolution of quarterbacks, where you be this stationary guy. You could really just call the vision of the field. Now you got to move, So it's like, I do like how the game evolves, but there's a lot of things about football that just like the NFL in general that just drives me crazy. I don't like parity. I don't like that, like, maybe this is me as a Bears fan. Maybe you have this with the Packers, too. It's week 8 and we're out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's week 8 of, like, a 16-week season. And, like, how many of the teams are already out of the playoffs? Like, we're out of the playoffs 3 or 4 weeks ago. It's like, that.
Someone argue
nuts.
week 1.
No, but I mean, but it's based on, like, their win-loss record.
Yeah,
I'm like,
gotcha.
If you're, like, the Jacksonville Jaguars or something like that, like, why? But I guess fantasy nulls it all because I pick my players and it's my stat and everything like that.
Yeah, I think
I don't
it's
play
hard.
fantasy. I don't play fantasy.
I think it's hard for like fan base. Like even the Lions, like they're doing well now. But I remember when they couldn't fill their stadium.
They were,
and I bring that up for a reason.
Yeah,
because they call them like the Lions' pride. Yeah, where was the pride when you couldn't fill the stadium, Slick? But
Slick.
It drives me nuts because fan bases act like that. That's like one thing about Chicago. The Bears fans don't leave. They don't hide. Like they support. They'll make some videos.
They're close.
Calling out everyone.
Yeah.
We want everyone fired. And I'll give them props too. Didn't break no TVs. I didn't see no videos of Bears fans breaking TVs like Cowboy fans do.
Yeah, there's probably some broken TVs.
I'm sure there was some broken, but I didn't see a bunch of videos. But that's a drives me nuts about the Cowboys. Like they lose and they break TVs. Like why would you think that wasn't going to happen? And a lot of time it's fake. Okay, so I saw one video.
Yeah.
And there's like a room full of people, and this guy, the game ends, and he goes and punches the TV and rips it off the wall. But it's like a 32-inch TV, and it's in a nice big house with like 14 people watching. Like 14 people didn't come to your house to watch a 32-inch TV, but I know it's fake.
I'm a pro wrestling fan, and I know a work when I see a work,
dude,
brother.
Yeah, I've been in social media a while. I know how to fake some stuff. You got to.
Yeah, maybe do the vertical shot here to make it look like a bigger TV, not just a wide one.
It looked like the Office episode when
where Michael Scott's told he can have the small monitor television, not the big one.
Good stuff. So let me ask this, like going back to comedy real quick.
Sure.
Who are your all-time great? Like out of the all-time greats,
yeah.
Who are your favorites? You don't have to have a list or whatever, but who are some people that you listen to maybe inspired you or just that you liked?
I brought up Maria Bamford earlier. She is like the best. Like I'm an ill person. She has like mental illness issues, but she deals with them very, very well, and she has that Midwestern family and like knows how to like make her mom and dad like characters, but not like in a corny sitcom way, you know?
All right.
So that really like settled me in because I had that. I'm from a family of 5, right? And so I had that. Like I was from an Irish Catholic family of 5. We have characters and stories, but like my mom and dad were like the anchors. They were the coach and the quarterback, Football Reference. You know, so like they were that, right? So I had that element, and I kind of heard her in that in terms of just like smart ass dudes that were like my brother's friends that worked for the city of Chicago. That was Bill Burr. Like I heard elements of him in there. Dane Cook was just like weird, ridiculous guys I knew in college. I heard him in there. And there's also just like great comedians that you guys may not know in Wisconsin that I kind of came out with in Chicago that were like really, really funny. And there's a show called Comedians You Should Know that have been able to perform on. And like those are some of the best people that like open up for some of the top names that come through Chicago on that show. Danny Callis and Joe Kilgallen and Kristen Toomey. And these are people that are like, they're like, if I'm a junior, like they're my senior, you know, in like high school. And so it's when you're around it all the time, you get to see some really, really talented people. And then you also get to enjoy like the big name people when they put out a special. You can't help but watch it. You know, you ever watch like an NFL vet like watch a game? They don't watch it the same way you and I do.
Oh yeah, absolutely not.
Yeah.
No.
So like it's really hard sometimes. Like when I watch like a comedy special like on Netflix, I kind of have to like turn my head off a little bit. And that's like why I said that about the show. Like come to the show and just like don't come to before the show starts. Get a drink, break the seal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Unwrap the cheese. You know, let it breathe. You know.
See, you're talking my language now.
Yeah. But yeah, those are my favorites. Those are absolutely my favorites.
Yeah. To me, like my favorites were Carlin.
Yeah.
Like as a kid, Eddie Murphy, and even before him, the goat. How am I forget? Richard Pryor. Dude, how did that name leave me?
That's all right.
Dude, but remember that joke Eddie Murphy had back in the day where he said he used to sneak away and watch Richard Pryor?
Yes.
That was literally me. Like as a kid.
Yeah.
I had this Eddie Murphy
people
raw.
Would do that with Dice Clay records. Andrew Dice Clay.
Yeah, and I remember like they wouldn't want me to watch. My mom wasn't like oversensitive like me hearing swear words.
No,
but she wasn't always.
They don't want you repeating it.
Yeah, they don't want me walking. But I would watch that. But I remember I was in Fond du Lac at that time, and there was a big park, and there was like a big stage in the park, and I used to go up there and like tell jokes to like 2 people, like a couple friends that were there. And it wasn't like I had things prepared. I didn't like write stuff, but I'd go up there and pretend like, "Hey, I'm a comedian." But yeah, I think Carlin to me is just like, because he's more than a comedian. He's like he was on a whole other thing.
Yeah, it's sometimes it bordered into philosophy.
Yeah,
and also like there's a great comedian I know. I was doing an open mic where we run material, and it's not a show. You're running new stuff, or you're trying to like work out things. It's not a show. We're punching the bag. You know, it's a scrimmage. And so I'm there with this great comedian. His name is Adam Burke. Adam's from Ireland. He has a great album out on YouTube. Search him, Adam Burke. Very, very funny. Adam's incredibly smart and can write satire about the world, and philosophy, and history, and all these. But at the same time, like, make a bar of drunk people laugh. You know, like I can't do that. I can do things where I can play my version of Metallica, which is about me making fun of myself and my family. Like, I know how to do that, but I can respect somebody who can do something that I can't do. You know, like, I like Maria Bamford. I can't do things exactly. Another great comic is Natasha Leggero. She does bits about just being like this flighty, tighty woman who's actually from Rockford, who's trying to be something she isn't. You know what I mean? Like, so, and she like went to LA, and she embraces like the fake LA people thing. But she's playing a character, and it's like, but she wanted to be that. She wanted to be like a really cool LA person, but she's always just going to be this Midwestern girl from Rockford. You know, like she's like, I can hide it a little bit, but if I have 2 or 3 cocktails, you can hear, you know, Beloit on me. You know, like that type of thing.
I think I've seen that.
Yeah, but that's media. Like, I can't do that. That isn't me. But I can appreciate those things. Like, great Wisconsin comic. You guys got to look her up. Kristen Leidy. Kristen Leidy is really, really, really funny. She's out of Green Bay and has put out some great albums and opened up for some big name people. So you guys really? Like I said, you guys got your own.
Dude, I didn't even know. I know Charlie Barron's. You know him?
Oh, Charlie, yeah. I haven't been in a room with Charlie. Charlie's brother. Can't remember Charlie's brother. I've done some shows with him. And I think we had him on Roast Battle. So
Charlie Barron's brother is a comedian too?
Yeah, I should look up Charlie Barron's brother. What is it, John Barron's? Maybe it's John Barron.
I never knew that his brother was a comedian too.
I may be wrong about his brother. Yeah, but every time I do comedy in Wisconsin, everyone asks me, is like, oh, do you know Charlie Barron's? Everyone's like, oh, dude, you get on, you're gonna get on Manitowoc Minute. You gotta get on Manitowoc Minute, man. If you want to do comedy, yeah. Yeah, it's John Barron's. You guys can follow him on Instagram. He's at JBeast33.
I don't know how I didn't know that. I don't know how I didn't know that.
JBeast33. Yeah, go follow.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna check that out. Yeah. But yeah, people ask me that too. Like, if people find out like I'm a content creator, like whatever, they're like, "Oh, do you know Charlie Barron's?"
Especially if you're from Wisconsin, right?
Yeah, like some people don't understand. They're like, "Oh, this guy, you know, he does try to explain to like an older person, like, oh, do you know Charlie Barron's?" Even my mom, like, she'll share Charlie Barron's stuff on Facebook. I'm like, "Hey, I create content too, Mom. Share my stuff." Sometimes she's like, "No, he's really funny." I'm like, "Oh yeah, thanks." But it was great talking with you, dude.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I hope you had a good time. I hope people listened and had a good time. We're doing the shows. We're going to be in West Allis at Lehman's Brewing, right outside of Milwaukee, on December 5th. Friday, December 6th, we're going to have the Odd Thruple Comedy Tour. These are the shows I'm doing. We're going to be at the Lodge on Main in Marinette. I didn't say Marinette. And then on Saturday, December 7th, we're going to be just north of Green Bay in Abrams at Nuff-Noshry. And then Sunday, we're going all the way up there, Door County Gala in Sturgeon Bay. We're going to be in Sturgeon Bay. So we're really putting some miles on the road here. If you guys go to my Instagram, there's a link on my Instagram at KevKellum6. It's at KevKellum6. And if you look up any of those places, we'll be on the schedule. You can buy tickets in advance. It's the best way to do it. Some of the tickets may cost a little bit more depending on the venue. Like, that's to do with them, like day of. So you buy your tickets in advance. It's really good. Also, if you guys come out to the shows and you tell me that you heard me on that show, we got to film a video or something like that. And I'll send it over to you.
Yeah.
We'll do some goofy stuff. And if you come out to the show and you tell me, I heard you on the show talking about your Bears, I will film a video where you can tell me your favorite joke about the Chicago Bears. And I will film a video with it, and I'm going to put that all together. And I think it's
there you go.
So it's a fun, content thing we can do together.
Yeah, that's awesome. You're like somewhat like close, like all these towns. Like, usually if people talk about Wisconsin towns, like, I don't know them all, and I'm like, I don't know what to talk about. I know every single place that you are. Door County's awesome though.
Yeah, a lot of people in Chicago love Door County.
Oh yeah, that's a joke. Yeah. That's a fib joke. They say like they like those fibs talking trash, but you can't get through traffic in Door County because there's a bunch of Illinois plates in front of you.
Listen, we want to do our fishing. And our wives want to look at the leaves, right? That's what they want. Well, we can't do it because those gosh darn fibs are coming up here. All right, and I am so proud that you cannot buy a drop of New Glarus south of Kenosha. All right, I don't want to see it leave the state. If you drive past the border, I want you to stop your car. I want you to get pulled over by a super trooper right there, and you got to pour it out bottle by bottle. like I can imagine that. I always thought that was crazy. New Glarus, you can't buy it anywhere but Wisconsin.
Well, yeah, because New Glarus, spotted cow is a big one.
Spotted cow, yeah.
Yeah,
every time I go, I have to bring some back. Every time I go, like people ask me to bring some back.
I saw some van with Illinois plates just unloading Quick Trip, just throwing them in the bag. Bought like 15 cases. So I called the cops and said, "I think this guy's drinking. You might want to check him out." No, I'm kidding.
What's going on there, bud? Huh? You got a 1985 Super Bowl sticker in the back of the car. Where do you think you are, pal? Huh?
Yeah.
You got 2 cases. You got 2 cases of look, you got strawberry flavored New Glarus. Isn't that right? What? Oh, are you drinking right now? Because you can't have an open container in a car unless you're the mayor of the town. You know that, right? And the mayor of this town is a golden retriever. All right, so it's like one of those towns. Yeah.
Oh, that's a beautiful thing. You see this, man. Nicolay Law.
Yeah,
you see the billboards, huh?
Yeah.
You see the billboards
all over Minnesota, Wisconsin. I've done some time on the air in Minneapolis on 93X.
Yeah,
and supportive of everything there. Yeah, definitely. I guess I have to look. When I've done shows in Wisconsin, people have come up and he's like, "Oh, are you the Nicolay Law guy?" I think I would maybe take a path that isn't stand-up comedy if I was the Nicolay Law guy. But yeah,
I know, right? Yeah, I forgot what else. Dude, see, my brain doesn't work like that because I had something good too. But we're gonna wrap this thing up. Everyone, be sure to check them out and tag me on your Instagram. If you put stories up of your dates and times, and I'll share them to people so they can see.
Thank you so much, man.
Yeah,
Matt,
for sure.
you've been so awesome, and I'm so appreciative. Just chopping it up and sharing shit. And like I said, if you guys are Packer fans, you want to come up and make fun of us with the Bear stuff, just be cool. Like we'll film stuff and everything like that. I'm fun. Like come out and have a good time. Turn your brain off. Have a good time. We all have red blood. Let's laugh. That's it.
Yeah, you know what I mean. We all need some fibs in our life. You know what I mean?
Yes. We gotta figure out an equal offensive name for Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Dude,
let me ask you. Do Illinois
Scotty, but like it was like
we don't care.
No, but that doesn't even sound mean. That sounds like a nice nickname.
Dude, and like you guys started Cheeseheads.
Yeah,
and now
that doesn't sound bad.
And then the Packers just bought the company for like so much money because the Cheesehead company.
Yes.
Yeah, so like we just owned it. But is that offensive calling an Illinois person a fib?
A little bit, because fib like feels like, and once you know what the abbreviation is, like it borders on like you're gonna get an email from human resources about that, and like it feels like in the direction of slur, but it's not. Like once you break it down, you know what it is. It's just like it's small town, big town rivalry stuff. That's fun. Like once you know it's just fun and it's not real. Like if you take that seriously, calm down, dude. Like, get off the snowmobile and touch grass. Like that type of thing.
Yeah, I remember like on Facebook one time I said fib, and I got a comment.
Does it flag you when you say
it? No, it doesn't. But it encourages it. But some lady commented. She was like, "What does that mean?" And I looked at her profile because she was kind of old or whatever, and she was like. Looked like 97. I was like, I'm not responding to this lady. I don't want to tell her. It means nice person.
It means friendly.
It means our friendly neighbors over here.
Yes. Our friendly interstate buddies. Yeah, that's what it is.
After I stop recording, hang on for a second. I want to ask you something.
Gotcha.
All right, we're going to wrap this thing up. Everyone, big shout out to Quick Trip and Nicolay Law sponsoring this show. It's always fun talking to comedians. You know what I mean? I don't talk to a lot of them, but I ask them, and they're like, "Okay, bud, sure thing." But I appreciate you, Kevin, coming in, and definitely check out my Instagram. And if you have any questions about where shows are, let me know. I'll get you that information. And go Pack, go! And the Bears still suck. You know what I mean?
Got it in there. I'll let you have it.